Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Belle again. So today, we're going to talk about Trump, manufacturing jobs, interest rates, and getting what you wished for. While most of the media is still hammering home the numbers that say that there are more people looking for jobs than there are jobs available, that isn't quite the doomsday scenario for the economy as it's being made out to be. Although it probably feels like it if you're currently looking for a job. But as we said in the last video on this, it's not doomsday, but it's still not good. One of the big sectors where this is going to be seen the most is manufacturing. The U.S. has lost more and more manufacturing jobs every month since Trump started his Liberation Day tariffs. Reminder, Trump promised this would bring manufacturing jobs back. Instead, tens of thousands of manufacturing jobs have evaporated. 12,000 just last month. Mark Zandi, chief economist at Moody's Analytics, said, quote, "It's a jobs recession. The goods side of the economy, including manufacturing, mining, and construction, is losing a significant number of jobs, as is the federal government." So, Trump is probably going to get his wish. Interest rates will likely be cut, but it's important to understand why. Trump's framing will undoubtedly be that the Fed could have cut interest rates sooner. The thing is, inflation is still up well above the ideal level, and surging inflation is still a concern of many at the Federal Reserve and in the private sector. In fact, you have some economists talking about an inflation mountain. If Trump had avoided tanking the jobs market, if he hadn't basically imposed economic sanctions against the United States, the Fed would probably still be in wait-and-see mode on interest rate cuts. They'd be trying to gather more information before making a decision. There is a non-zero chance. In fact, there's a pretty decent chance that lowering interest rates allows for even more inflation. It needs to be very clearly understood that Trump isn't likely getting his way because it's okay to cut interest rates by looking at the inflation readings. He's getting his way because his policies have hurt the job market so much that the job market and not inflation is becoming a bigger problem for the Fed and their dual mandate of price stability, controlling inflation, and employment. You know, I have to be honest. There was a small part of me that initially thought he would take office and just let most of Biden's policies ride and take credit for the economic boom. All he would have had to do is not rock the boat, and he would have been heralded as bringing in an economic golden age. All he had to do was nothing. None of this had to happen. The obvious question is whether this is another step towards stagflation. You're probably going to be hit with a bunch of headlines saying it definitely is, and maybe a few saying it definitely isn't. The real answer? We don't know yet. There's a lot of variables at play as various sectors try to cope with the shock to the economy that is, well, the Trump administration. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.